Good morning. Today we are doing our last objective of the unit. We are doing CO59. I can find an equation of direct variation, like we did yesterday, given one exists. So yesterday we were checking to see is there a direct variation. Now we're going to work a little more with that. Remember, this is our last objective, so tomorrow is a review day. Practice test Friday, real test on Monday. So let's recap what we learned in CO58, fill in the blank style. So let's see what we can fill in. Every equation with direct variation will be in what form? What does the equation look like, Henry?
It won't have an
So tell me what to write.
y equals mx.
Yeah, we don't have the plus b on it. It's always going to be y equals mx. Now, the constant of variation, or the slope, is found by doing what, Joe?
Y over x.
Yeah. Y over x, or we could say y divided by x. So this information can be used to not only write an equation with direct variation, but also use that equation to solve for an unknown. So remember, when we're solving for unknowns, we are doing those opposite operations, or we're doing the math. We're solving for that variable. Sometimes it's opposite operations, sometimes it's not, but we're solving for a variable. So we're going to see how we combine that. So we're going to have word problems, and we're going to break down those word problems into finding our y's and our x's to be able to use that slope-intercept form, that direct variation of y equals mx. So we're going to see, we're putting together what we already know to do something new. But this is all stuff that we know. We're just having to really pay attention to how to find that information. So in this word problem, Brian's pay, Y, varies directly with the number of hours he works, X. If he earns $282.75 for working 39 hours, how many hours does he work to earn $195.75? So this is a key phrase. And I want you to write this down. This is going to help us with these word problems. Y always varies directly with X. So when we read that word problem, they're not always going to put that parentheses of what's the Y and what's the X. You're going to write it. To keep it straight in your mind, what's your Y and what's your X. Always, 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 what varies directly with that Y varies directly with the X. So Brian's pay varies directly, so the pay is the Y, with the number of hours, so the number of hours is going to be the X. If he earns $282.75 for working 39 hours, which one's the Y and which one's the X with the numbers that we're given?
Y is the number of hours, so 39.
So if I look up here where I wrote my Y and where I wrote my X, what's the Y?
Oh, wait, it's the pay.
The pay is my Y, so I'm going to put a Y with the pay. The hours is my X. So you're going to be writing Y's and X's 3 times in your word problem. The question says, how many hours did he work to earn $195.75? Where am I going to put my Y and my X for that? Elliot.
Y for 105.
Y is the pay.
And then X for hours.
X for hours. So when we get this word problem, you are going to write Y and X 3 times. Y always varies directly with the X. And then they're gonna give you a Y and an X. You need to figure out, it's not always going in the same order. Sometimes you have to read how it's worded, okay? Hours are the X, so every time I saw hours, I can put an X. The pay is the Y, so when I see the pay, I'm putting the Y. Now, we're gonna start filling stuff in. What is the constant of variation? The M, the slope. Remember, I find the slope by saying Y divided by X. Do I have a line on here that has numbers I'm going to use for Y divided by X? What am I given that I can use, Finley?
282.75
Yeah. I'm going to use that middle line to find my slope, that constant of variation. So I marked what my Y was, I marked what my X was. So I know $282.75 divided by 39 is going to be my constant of variation. What is $282.75 divided by 39? Clara?
7.25.
Okay, does that make sense, how we find that constant of variation? It's the middle section of our Y's and X's, because you're given both the Y and the X. You need to know which one's the Y and which one's the X. You need to remember it's always Y divided by X. Every year I have kids that accidentally flip it. That's why I tell us to label our Y's and X's, so we make sure we're dividing the correct way. Because if we did 39 divided by 282.75, we'd get a much different answer. Now it says, what is the equation in slope-intercept form? So what would my equation be in slope-intercept form? Henry?
Y equals 7.25x.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to answer the question. How many hours did he work to earn $195.75? So I'm given a known, and I'm going to solve for my unknown. So what is my equation going to look like? Clara?
We need to do 195.75 times 7.25.
Times what?
Multiplied by 7.25.
Is that using my slope-intercept form? No. So we are going to start with $195.75 because that's my Y. And I start with my Y. Y equals what, Joe?
7.25.
And the X is my question. How many hours? So I'm solving for X. You solve for the unknown. So how do I solve that? How do I solve for X, Gavin?
You divide, or subdivide, you do opposite operations.
Yeah, I want X by itself. So I need to do opposite operations. What operation is happening right here, Gavin?
Multiplication,
And what's the opposite?
division,
So I need to divide both sides by 7.25. What is 195.75 divided by 7.25? Finish us off, Gavin.
27. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my question, how many hours did he work? He worked 27 hours. So now what I always do is say, does that logically make sense? If I look here and say If he worked 39 hours, he got $282 in some sense. If he's gonna work 27 hours, that's less time. Is he making less money or more money? Less. So 195 is less than 282. Logically, it makes sense. Sometimes if you mess up your Y's and X's and you get your answer, it doesn't logically make sense. And that's your clue. If I would have gotten 45 hours, I would say, wait a minute, he worked more, but he's getting paid less? That doesn't logically make sense. I messed up somewhere. Where did I mess up? Okay. Always look at your final answer. Look back at the question. Does it logically make sense? So let's look at our next one. For each situation below, find that constant of variation, and then write it in slope-intercept form, and then fill in what you know and solve for what you don't know. So what's our first step that I said we have to do? What's always, always, always the first step you should do, Joe?
Find that y.
Find the Y's and X's. 3 sets of Y's and X's. Remember, what's the key phrase that we wrote down? Holland? Yep. Yeah. So when we look at that first line, we'll always see that varies directly. Y varies directly with X. So Mary's profit varies directly with the number of books she sells. So the profit's the money, that's Y. The number of books is the X. So if I look at my second line, if Mary earns $601.65 for selling 63 books, what's my Y and what's my X? Go.
The y is 601.65, and then the x is 63.
Now I have my question. How much will she earn for selling 59 books? What's my Y and what's my X? Joe?
Books is x, is how much you'll earn
So my question is the why, right? I don't know. I'm looking for how much she's going to earn. So now I have my 3 sets of Y's and X's. What's my next step? Yeah, I need to find that constant of variation. Y divided by X. So what am I going to divide? Tell me what equation to write. Alan?
601
So my Y divided by my X, what do I get? Finley?
9.55.
Okay. Next step. What do I need to do? Victoria? All right, so do that for me. All right. What do I write next? Finley?
You put 59 in place for the y.
Oh, I know X is 59. I don't know the Y, that's my question mark. So I'm gonna keep Y in the equation. I'm gonna keep the 9.55, and I'm going to fill in the X. Do I have to do opposite operations? No. No, when you're solving for the Y, you just straight up multiply. When you're solving for the X, you have to do the opposite operations and divide. But when you solve for the Y, we're just multiplying. So what is my Y? Colton?
563.45.
So now I'm gonna go back to my question. How much will she earn for selling 59 books? I know that if she sold 63 books, she made $601. Is she selling more books or less books?
Less.
So should her profit be more or less?
Less.
Is our answer less?
Yes.
So she made $563.45. Okay, always check your logic. Does it make sense? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna help you with that in just a minute. Work on this second one, and then we're gonna go over it together. So work on that second one. First step, find your 3 sets of y's and x's. Then you find your constant of variation. You put it into slope-intercept form and fill in what you know. Solve for what you don't know. So you've got that little doohickey there. So I think that's what we need to take off. Should work. So we did. Oh, your decimal isn't working.
I might know how to fix it.
Mm,
I've had calculator trouble.
with buttons that don't work or that gives us funky answers? Come and see, because I'm thinking it might be broke, but I would love to see if Joe can fix it. So the rest of us are working on our y's and x's, working on solving this. When you have an answer, raise your hand. So what I'm gonna have you do for today, Elliot, is I'm gonna have you borrow one of my calculators. I'm gonna let you borrow one of my fancy ones, but give it back to me at the end of class. Take that calculator home and see if mom or dad can fix it. You might need a new one. But for the test, because this isn't, you forgot it, you lost it, it's a broken, I'll let you borrow mine in class for me. Okay. All right, raise your hand if you got it done. Okay, there's a few more of us. Let's get a couple more finishing up. While people are finishing up the math part, who is somebody that's done that wants to walk us through our y's and x's? Who is a voice that I haven't heard today that can walk us through y's and x's? Oh, I saw hands up of people done. Who can challenge themselves? That I haven't heard voices from today, that knows where to fill in the y's and x's. I've heard from Victoria today. Who's the voice I haven't? I've heard from Bolton today. Bo, tell me where to put my y's and x's.
Distance, put Y. Hour, put X. 270 miles, put Y. 6 hours, put X. Far, Y. And 15 hours, X.
Perfect. Okay, so we know that distance varies directly with the hours. Y varies directly with the X. So then I look, anytime I see the distance, I'm gonna put a Y. That's my miles. Asking how far, that's a distance, so that's a Y. Hours is an X, 6 hours is an X, 15 hours is an X. Who can walk me through our next step? Ellie.
270 divided by 6.
Y divided by X, 270 divided by 6. What did you get, Ellie?
45.
What's my next step? Emily.
Y equals 45 minutes.
Put it into slope-intercept form. Then what, Emily?
So Y equals 45 and then 15.
So I can fill in my X because I know that. I'm going to keep the Y. That's what I'm looking for. That's my question. So y equals 45 times x. What is 45 times x, Colton?
675.
Now, I am going to look, does 675 miles make sense? So if he went 270 miles in 6 hours, and now he's going 15 hours, is it going to be more or less? It's gonna be more. He went a lot longer, so he's gonna go a lot more hours. So it's not even a close, right? It's over doubling our time. So it should be over double the amount of distance that he's gone. 675 is over twice as much. So it makes sense. So I'm going to write the answer, 675 miles makes sense. Now, who is noticing the little details I'm doing here? That will help when you are correcting your homework, and it will help when I am correcting on the test. What do we notice that I'm doing? Emily?
You circle your answer.
I rewrote it with my measurement, or my label, right? $, miles. I wrote it over to the side and I circled it. When we have lots of work happening, things get kind of messed up and they get all, don't make me search for your answer. When you're correcting tomorrow, don't have to search for your answer. Circle the answer with your label on it so it's nice and clear. Be confident in your answer, 675 miles. Confidence, circle it, okay? Makes it a whole lot easier for you and for me. Any questions on how to find what the answers are to these? So on this second page, we want to make sure that we are filling in those y's and x's. Then you find your slope, then you put it into the slope-intercept form, put in what you know, solve for what you don't know. The review on the bottom is super important. Okay, can't forget what we were doing at the beginning of our unit. So make sure you're doing those review questions. If you finish before class is done, you can work on Khan Academy. If you have your Khan Academy all done, we have not gotten our math packet number 11 yet, so you don't have that to work on. If you have not been checked off on your gifts of the Holy Spirit, study those. Come get checked off. If you have, it's silent work time. It is not social hour. Lunch is coming up in 10 minutes. Okay, save socializing for then. Find work to work on. Math comes first, then theology, then other classes. You can always read a book for Mrs. White. All right. If you are watching this at home, I hope you are well, and I hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.